Story 1. I consider my job as my main sponsor for all the good things I have in life. A roof, food, hobbies, trips, etc. It lets me see our relationship a bit more clearly. Yeah, I don't have to love my sponsor, but I have to show up to get the benefits from them. It's the same as every Formula One driver needing to show up at a Red Bull event or the launch of the new Aston Martin. They need to do that to be allowed to do the other fun stuff. Story 2. By remembering what I am getting up for, I do not get up for a job. The job is a tool to provide my family a safe, comfortable place to live, to be able to visit my family, buy food, and take trips. I focus on that stuff. It also helps that I kind of have a job that helps people. Story 3. This is hitting me hard, reminding me of my quarter-life crisis. I think we have been conditioned to believe that a career or job should be fulfilling, giving us purpose and satisfaction. But honestly, for 99% of people throughout history, that is not true. A job is just a way to pay the bills. The real meaning in life often comes from what you do outside of work. It might sound grim, but take a look at some obituaries. The most compelling ones rarely focus on someone's job. Story 4. I have a cat. My cat needs a home to live in, food to eat, and veterinary care if he becomes ill. For that, I need to earn money. So I get out of bed and go to work because I love my cat. Story 5. With a better understanding of what is important to you, it doesn't have to be crystal clear. You can check in with your work and see if it is in alignment with what you need. If it is, see about your relationships, your finances, your living space, your health, nutrition, fitness, your recreation, pastime, and hobbies. Story 6. My alarm on my phone helps wake me up. Then I move to the edge of the bed and maneuver my body so my legs hang off the side. I land on my feet and pull my body upright so I'm in a standing position. Any other questions? Story 7. I work from home and rarely leave the bed even when working. It's so hard. I know I sound pathetic. I'm slowly trying to get back to working at my desk. It seems silly, but my mental health is really bad from the isolation of working remotely. Story 8. The moment I'm scheduled to work, my day is ruined. I have nothing to lose by going into work and excelling. If I call out or perform poorly, I'm only making my future worse, and my day doesn't get any better. I have coworkers who frequently call out. Maybe they get a day of housework in, but their future work suffers. I also have coworkers who spend half their workday chatting and procrastinating. They eventually have to scramble to barely meet standards, and their social lives aren't any better than mine. If your day is already ruined, excel at your job, get promoted, and leverage your new skills to apply for a position with a better work-life balance. You have to work to live anyway, so why not be good at it? Story 9. I stopped working first shift. Working second shift allows me to wake up on my own time, take my time in the mornings, do what I want, and then go to work nice and relaxed. Then I go home, shower off real quick, unwind for a minute, and then sleep. Story 10. As someone who always lacks sleep, this is usually what works for me. 1. When waking up physically, I always try to do a child's pose on my bed. Kneel and face down. Lean forward until your stomach touches your thighs. Rest your forehead on the bed. Rest your arms where you feel comfortable. This soothes you while keeping you from falling back to sleep. Mentally, I try to think of exciting things I will do at my job, snacks I will eat in the office, etc. If you just want to get out of bed, you can also think of exciting things you can do after you wake up but before going to work. If you don't have any exciting thing to do, try to create some as a positive reinforcement. Story 11. I love my job. My weekends go by slower than my work week. It has been like that for more than 10 years, and I do not expect it to change. I know not everyone will feel this way, but if you can, find something you are passionate about. I took a little less money for a fulfilling career. Never looked back. Story 12. I do things a little differently. I work for a couple of months, then take a couple of months off. Changing jobs every 6 months helps, and also knowing there's an end date. I get up and think, okay, just a month and a half to go, and then I'm free. Usually, the first month goes by quickly because it still has that new job feeling to it. Once that wears off, I start counting down the days. I know this won't work for everyone, but I've managed to set up my life so work isn't so bad every day. Also, making new friends all over the country has been an interesting experience. I'm in construction if you want to try this for yourself. Story 13. When we are immature, we all long for the weekends or days off. We fall into a trap of hating work and enjoying days off. We obsessively keep creating a bigger and bigger difference between these days. The trick is to even out the days. Get up early on days off and do fun things on work days. Level out the days. The goal is to look forward to work days more than days off. It is amazing how great your life becomes. Story 14. Other people have mentioned needing money for bills, but I also remember that I expect everyone else to turn up to work when I go to the shop or use services. We need people to work for society to function. Story 15. I try to get up in the morning not just to go to the job, but also to drink some tasty coffee, have lunch with colleagues, solve some puzzles and build some things at work, then go for a walk, visit a bar, attend a concert, spend some time with family, or just play some Disco Elysium. I try to focus on other things in life besides work, and it makes life bearable. Story 16. I love my job. It's hard and stressful, but it helps people in need and gives me a reason to get out of bed every day. Also, I make a lot of money and driving to work in my Mercedes-Benz with massage seats doesn't hurt. Okay, a kid. But the first part is true. Story 17. I don't get out of bed just to go to a job. I get out of bed because my beautiful 2-year-old gets up and needs breakfast. Then my 3-month-old gets up and my wife goes in to feed her. The job allows them to have a place to sleep, food to eat, and clothes to wear. If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't and would spend time with them. But that's not the hand of cards I was dealt, so I have to get up just to go to a job every morning. Story 18. Getting out of bed is like mastering a daily heist. You steal a few extra minutes, dodge the guards, your responsibilities, and hope the heist does not end in regret at childcare drop-off or an empty fridge. Some might say I wake up for a paycheck, but really, it is for the audacious chance to conquer another day, one ironic email at a time. Facing a cube filled with dull reports? I prefer to think of it as working creatively within confined spaces. Because let us be honest, it is less about the job and more about sneakily booking time to grab donuts as a networking opportunity. Story 19. It becomes less of a burden when you find your purpose in life. Right now, you do not know why you are here, but someday it will all come together for you. A reason to live or an excuse to work hard. For some, their career becomes their purpose. For others, their job sponsors an external drive such as children, a hobby, or championing a cause. You need to find out who you are. Story 20. My job keeps my kids fed, warm, and sheltered. There's no greater calling in this world. I truly believe that. Yet my depression is so real and unreasonable. Story 21. As far as we know, none of us chose to be here, but here we are nonetheless. We are conscious, like it or not. We live in a society we did not create, nor did anyone else. The rules are nothing but a large imperfect agreement between us all. We are wired to preserve our lives and try to preserve the species, but these problems have been largely solved for us already. If you really want to, you can move to the woods and live as a hermit, or try to work within the system to find a way to be happy. If you spend your life resenting the position you are currently in and don't see a way out, well, sorry. But realize there are always options. Never stop looking for a new path towards happiness. Life is too short not to. Story 22. For one, consider burnout as a possibility. Sometimes you just need a break or for things to slow down. Aside from that, if you are feeling this way, it is probably time for a new job. A lot of people say everyone hates their job, just endure it and go to work. I believe they are lying, or at least they are exaggerating. The fact that they continue to show up is proof of that. To them, a job is a chore and they do not like chores. That is normal. Being absolutely miserable is not normal. I have hated jobs to the point where I was near suicidal. I stopped going to those jobs. Other people were happy with those jobs, but they were not for me. Look for other work, other fields of work, not just other jobs in the same field. Career changes are difficult and starting over can be challenging. but it is better than guaranteed misery. Story 23. Because I'm an adult with bills to pay living in the real world rather than a pseudo-deep Instagram reel complaining about how humans were never meant to live this way. Story 24. I make sure it's not the only thing I am getting out of bed to do that day. I rescued a dog. I make plans with friends. I find hobbies that give me joy. It's a mindset I had to adopt myself in some dark days, but try not to let your 9 to 5 rule your mental space. It's a means to an end, and the end is doing all the things you love. Follow the trend of making your 5 to 9 more important. Story 25. I do not. I am second shift. I was born with multiple health conditions that affect my sleep. So, growing up when I was a kid and teenager, having to get up to go to school at 6:30 in the morning was a living hell for me. Now that I am an adult, I make sure I do not have to. Story 26. Because my job pays for all the cool stuff I want to do outside of work, and I have a decent job, so that helps. 2 ways I think about it. Work is what I do between my days off, and I supply my labor because I demand other things. Story 27. I get out of bed every day so I can take my dog for a walk. I go to work every day so I can feed and shelter my dog. Work isn't the point of life. Dogs are. Story 28. The desire to provide for men or fathers is inherently strong. Even if they do not, physiology suggests they feel something negative if they do not. As a father, I get out of bed every day to go to a job I dislike to provide for my children. I look at my job as a tool for the life I want to live outside of work. It is not great, but I doubt I am unique in this view. Story 29. With great difficulty, I've been hitting snooze right up until it leaves me no time to eat breakfast and get ready properly. I kind of stumble into work at the last minute, just to spend most of the pay on rent and a few bills, the savings money on getting my car repaired, and having nothing left to really do anything else. And apparently, I'm doing it for another 30 years to retire comfortably, which probably won't happen. Story 30. Alarm clock. Seriously though, it's a habit that needs to be cultivated. Before I was able to really do it, I had to drastically improve my mental health and train myself to look forward rather than down. For years, I was really unmotivated, dejected, and pessimistic. I focused a lot on how horrible my life was, and I could only think about the future in a bleak way. This changed when I met my future wife, but I don't think the takeaway here is to hope you meet the right person. I think you need to take advantage of whatever you can in order to recognize a potential future that you'd be happy to realize. Once you have an idea of what you want, it will be easier to view the obstacles in your life as surmountable. It will be easier for you to get out of bed and go to work because you'll have something that makes it worthwhile. Yes, you need to work to survive, but you shouldn't work just to survive. You need to work to thrive. Story 31. It helps if you work afternoons or nights. I used to work a typical job where my alarm rings at 6, and I lie in bed and contemplate just how badly I need this job. But then I got a different job where I don't have to be there until 3, so if I set my alarm for 10, I've got a few hours where I can sort of pre-decompress. The downside is that I can't go to the store after work because it's the middle of the night, so that's time out of my Saturday. Story 32. I am working my way toward being the 3rd generation of my family running our company. We have around 100 employees, many with families, and many who have been with us for decades. Knowing I can provide so many people with well-paying jobs and a workplace where they are respected keeps me going and motivated. Obviously, I am in a unique situation, but if you hate what you do or are not appreciated, just know there are many people who want you on their team and want you to love what you do. There is a job out there waiting for you to find it. Story 33. I think the trick to getting out of bed every morning isn't about willpower. It's about curiosity. Imagine if you treated every day like a mystery waiting to be unraveled. The alarm goes off, and instead of thinking, ugh, another day of work, you think, what interesting twist will today bring? Every new task is a chapter, every meeting a potential plot twist, and even the mundane moments hold the possibility of surprise. It's not about finding a reason to get up. It's about creating a sense of adventure in the routine. When you see each day as an exploration, getting out of bed feels like the first step towards solving the puzzle of the day. Story 34. I like my job, and I see it as a responsibility. Basically, the same way as I saw it when my kids woke me up in the morning. They're my responsibility, and I like having that responsibility. Story 35. 1. Being homeless means having no bed. So, I have worked since I was 14. I worked very hard for 20 years to get into a field that I find interesting and fulfilling, and I kept moving jobs until I found a place where I also like the people. Now, 5 days a week, I get to work with really cool people as we solve problems and make people's lives better. Mostly, though, it pays for my bed. Story 36. I have a wife, kids, and a mortgage, and we're able to get things done to our home because of my job. We can pay our bills so that we can live a comfortable modern life and not be in a slum. Every morning, when I feel like staying in bed, thinking about that for even half a second or watching my daughter asleep in her bed gets me moving. If I won the lottery, I would probably open a small business doing something I loved. But barring that, it is what it is. Story 37. Survival of the fittest. I learned this the hard way when my mother kicked me out of the house at 18. It's either kill or be killed, and I needed a place to live, so I worked.